Hello and welcome back to Josh Does Math. In this video we're going to be taking the derivative of a couple of functions here and we're going to be using the product rule. So if you don't know, the product rule says the derivative of f times g with respect to x, where f and g are both functions of x, is equal to the derivative of f times g plus the derivative of g times f. But an easy way to memorize this is to say, for the derivative of a product of a first and a second function, you say derivative of second times first plus derivative of first times second. You can mix the order up, doesn't matter. But as long as you remember that you're getting both combinations in there and that the symbol is addition. So right here, we're going to be using the product rule to take the derivative of this function right here. And we can say that f is the first function, g is the second function, or you can say g is the first, f is the second, doesn't matter. But we're taking the derivative of it. So we can say that the derivative, I'll just call it dy dx, so I don't need to write this all out, is going to be the derivative of 3x squared plus 1 times x to the third plus 6x plus the derivative of the second. So that's derivative of x to the third plus 6x times 3x squared plus 1. Now we just actually take our derivatives. So we end up with, using the power rule right here, pull the power out front, one smaller on the power. We end up with 6x, derivative of constant is nothing, times x to the third plus 6x. For our second term over here, take the derivative of this. We're using the power rule once here and once here. So I get 3x squared plus 6 times 3x squared plus 1. So now I just need to simplify this down a little bit. And sometimes even, you might not even need to simplify it down. But in this case, I'll simplify it down because it's pretty easy. It's just using some distributive property stuff. So this will be 6x to the fourth plus 36x squared plus, now I'm doing FOIL right here, so I get 9x to the fourth plus 3x squared plus 18x squared plus 6. And finally, I can combine a couple of terms together. So the terms that I see that are combining are my x to the fourth terms and x squared terms. So the x to the fourth terms combine, I end up getting 15x to the fourth plus these terms combine, so I'm adding 36 plus 18, so that's going to be 54 plus 3, and that ends up being 57x squared plus 6. So that's the derivative of the first function up there. And that function could just as easily be found by doing the distribution first and taking the derivative of each individual term. However, for this other function here, the distribution that we would do in the beginning here might actually take a little while. So I'll use the product rule once again on this one. So we're looking at the second problem now. So I'll say that dy dx is equal to derivative of the first, which I can just look at that and say, okay, the derivative of the first is just 1, times the second function, which is x to the fourth plus x to the third plus x squared plus x plus 1, plus derivative of the second function. So for the second function, I'm going to pull every single power out front of its x and make each power one smaller. I'm just using the power rule a bunch of times right here, so I don't need to write it out. So that's going to give me 4x to the third plus 3x squared plus 2x plus 1. And the derivative of 1 is just 0, so I'm not even writing it, times x minus 1. All right, now what do we do? Well, now we can just simplify it down a little bit. So x to the fourth plus x to the third plus x squared plus x plus 1 plus, now I have to distribute this into each term. So I'll end up with 4x to the fourth minus 4x to the third plus 3x to the third minus 3x squared plus 2x squared minus 2x plus x minus 1. Now I just have to combine some terms, so I'll combine my terms that are to the fourth. So that's this one right here and this one right here. That's 5x to the fourth. I'll combine my terms that are to the third power. That's going to be 1 minus 4, so that's negative 3. And another one right here, plus 3. That's going to get us to 0. So we don't even need to write anything. Next, we're looking for x squared, so that's going to be 1 minus 3. So now we're at negative 2 plus 2. We're at 0. Once again, don't even have to write anything. And I'm just looking right here. I see x plus x, that's 2x, minus 2x. We're back down to 0. And 1 and negative 1 cancel. So a lot of stuff canceled here, and we're just left with 5x to the fourth as the derivative of these two functions being multiplied. So that's how you do a couple of product rule problems like that. Thanks for watching.